of how to do it. Okay, next we're doing part E, where we're going to be finding the rate, the base, or the part, and then rounding the rates to the nearest tenth of a percent. Now, in this, we get to use the formula percent equals base times rate, or part equals base times rate. But I'm going to teach you a little way to remember which one, because the main thing about this is labeling the percent, the base, and the rate. So I'm going to teach you a little way to remember that. My percent or part is always with the is. My base is always with the of, and my rate is always in the form of a percent. So if I'll remember this, this will make it easier for me to label my parts. Okay? Another thing that I'm going to teach you is a way to use just one formula, because they give you 3 different formulas depending on whether you're solving for part or whether you're solving for base or whether you're solving for rate, and it's all the same formula. The formula that they give you is percent or part equals base times rate. Well, as a little trick, whatever you do to this side of the equation, you can do the exact same thing to this side of the equation and it's still true. And if it's still true, that means that you can solve for it. Okay. So, any number divided by itself is 1. So if I take 5 divided by 5, I'm going to get 1. If I take 27 divided by 27, it's going to be 1. And any number times 1 is going to be that number. So, because of that, I know it's a long way to get to a short distance, but because of that, I can divide both sides by r, and in essence, it moves r to this side, leaving b on this side, leaving you with a new formula of base equals percent divided by rate. You can do the same thing with the base and divide both sides by b, and that would leave you with b on this side and r on this side, and that's where they get the other formula. That is fine and dandy, but it seems like whenever they do it this way for you, it really seems like you're trying to remember 3 formulas when it's all just the same formula. So we're just going to use one formula. That formula is going to be percent equals base times rate. I'm going to show you just another example of why it works. If all these working with the letters gave you a headache, then I'm going to show you just one simple way of why it works that way. If 12 equals 3 times 4 is a true statement, then I can take out any one of these and you can still be able to solve for it. And I'll show you. If I have 12 equals n times 4, you would solve for it by dividing by 4. So we're multiplying on this side, we divide on this side when we cross over, and that equals 3. And it solves for n. We could do the same thing leaving the n out. So leaving the 4 out. It's multiplying on here. Our 3 is being multiplied, so when we bring it across, we divide. And it works that way every time. If something is multiplied on this side of the equation, when you bring it across, it'll be divided. If something is divided on this side of the equation, when you bring it across, you'll do the exact opposite, which is multiply. Same thing works for adding and subtracting. If something is added on this side of the equation, when you bring it across, you'll subtract. And if something is subtracted on this side of the equation, when you bring it across, you'll add. Easy? It really kind of is. So let's look at it with numbers in it, because that'll make it even more simple for us. I'm going to get a new sheet. I'm going to say don't save. Again, I'm going to write my little cheat up here. Percent is base is of, and rate is always in the form of a percent. Now let's look, at number 35. If I have 42% of 3,324 is what? Now, the first thing I want to do is label my parts. The one with the percent is my rate. Of is with the base. And is what I don't know. So, I write my formula. Percent equals base times rate. Then I fill in the blanks of what I know. I do not know my percent, but I know my base is 3,324, and I know my rate is 42%. So if I can find my calculator, there we go. I'm going to just solve the equation. 3,324, Okay, 3,324 times 0.42, which is 42%, equals my percent equals 1,396.08. Okay. I want to do number 37 so that you get an example of how to do one when you're solving for something other than P. So I'm going to write again. P is with is, B is with of, and my rate is always in the form of a percent. So I've got my little cheat sheet right up there. Okay, number 37. It says $21 is what percent of $139? My P is with my is. My rate is always in the form of a percent, and my base is with my of. So now I can write my formula. P equals B times R. I'm going to fill in the blanks with what I know. This time I do know my P. So 21 equals, I know my base is 139 times R. Now I'm going to go right over here and do another little cheat based on something that's easy to me. I know that 12, just like we did earlier, when I had 12 equals 3 times n, and I was solving for something that I knew, I automatically brought that 3 over and divided to solve for my n. I did it all in my head probably. But here, when we're dealing with different numbers, it's the exact same. See, they look the same as here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. It's being multiplied on this side. So to bring it over to this side, I'm going to divide. Now I'm left with 21 divided by 139 on this side, and r is on this side. So it means when I solve that, it will give me the answer. So 21 divided by 139 equals 0.1511. So 0.1511. And it says that when we have r, it's always in the form of a percent. So that means I'm going to have to make it a percent. 1 equals 100%. When I'm going from decimal to percent, I move it 2 places to the right. So 1, 2. So 15 point, and it said it wanted us to take it to the nearest tenth. So just 1 place past the decimal of a percent. So 15.1% is my answer. Now let's do number 39 so that we get an example of all of them. Do new. I'm going to write my little cheat up here. P is with is, B is with of, and R is always in the form of a percent. Number 39. $30 is 15% of what? My is my P. So P. This one has a rate with it, so it's going to be my R. And my of is my base. So base is what I don't know. My formula, P equals B times R. Now I fill in the blanks. 30 equals 15%. Whoops, that's my R. Sorry. 30 equals my base, I do not know. So I'm going to put B, and my rate is 15%. Okay, it's being multiplied on this side. So when I bring it across, I'll do the opposite. I will divide. And that will leave me with B on this side and an equation on this side. So now I take 30 divided by 15%, and that gives me 4 point, no, that is not right. Let me try it again. 30 divided by, I'm going to do it this way, 0.15. That's better. And that gives me 200. I'm going to try and see if my calculator is what's doing weird. 30 divided by 15%. Yep, it's doing that 15% weird. So I had to change it to a decimal before I could use it. And then when I put it in that way, as a decimal, 0.15, it takes it and solves it. So 200 is my base.